Hey guys, Logan here and welcome back to another video. So today is National Coming Out Day, so I decided it would be a wonderful day and time to share my coming out story. As I was growing up, I was definitely not into typical boy things, and most of my friends were girls. I loved Barbies, I loved, Littlest Pet Shops, playing house, painting nails, doing hair, having sleepovers with girls, watching movies, and all that generalized crapola stuff. Now, for many years, I would grow up and I would see attractive boys, i.e., Zac Efron from High School Musical. I would obviously think he was cute or whatever, but I didn't really think he was cute, if that makes sense. So I knew that I liked him, but I just thought I wanted to be him. I thought that he was cool. Obviously, over time that wasn't the case because he took off his shirt and I was like, Even then, I just didn't really pay attention to it. I quote unquote dated girls, teehee crushes dated. And then when I was 13, yeah, I would have been 13, I moved to Nova Scotia. Now, Nova Scotia for me was a lot different than where I am now. The culture is just a lot different, a lot more open, a lot more flexible, and I ended up getting with a group of friends that were partly and mostly LGBT. My best friend was transgender, I had another transgender friend, I had some straight friends too, but it was mainly people that were LGBT or questioning people, and that sort of helped me realize that it's okay not to like girls. Not like I ever grew up in a homophobic household. My parents were always 100% accepting of me, and that was that. But over time, just I didn't think anything of it. And then being in the certain group, I learned a lot and learned, okay, these feelings are attraction. And it took me a while to realize that there's the difference between sexual attraction and thinking someone is beautiful. Because I will still, obviously, to this day, think girls are beautiful. Do I want to have sex with them? No. With my sexuality, though, I also don't dismiss it either. I identify as gay, but, if in the future I find a girl and I fall in love with them, then that's what's meant to happen. I don't really dismiss anything, and whatever comes, comes. So I'm just me. So I identify as gay to make it easier on me and on myself because it's just easier that way, I suppose. But I don't know what the future holds. Do I primarily see myself with a guy? Yes. But if in the future a girl comes along and that happens, then that happens. Okay. So now to the actual coming out part. I guess it first started when I met this guy. Let's call him Adam, as in Adam and Eve. I'm sure he knows who he is, but I'm not gonna vocalize it anyhow. Adam was in my social studies class. He ended up adding me on Facebook one night, and we ended up talking, and he was just an amazing person. He was openly gay. He was proud of it. He had just recently came out a month before because he came out as bisexual beforehand. He dealt with sexuality and that type of thing all his life. He was very similar to me, and over time I started to develop feelings for him. Now, I guess you could say he was my first official guy crush that I actually accepted, so to speak. He was the first person I came out to. I ended up telling him that I liked him, and that was the first person that I ever told I was gay. And then from there, I told one of his good friends, because obviously I had a crush on him and I was excited and whatever. So I told one of his good friends, and then after that, I went on a field trip. On the way back from the field trip, we were sitting in a staff's car back to the school because they didn't get buses then. So what I wrote was in my little tiny Android phone, my first phone that I ever got, I think. It might have been No, it might have been my second phone. Anyways, that's besides the point. I wrote in my notes, I have to tell you something. And she said, okay, like, wrote back okay or said okay or whatever. And then I wrote out in the notes, I'm gay. And she said, I know. And then a few weeks later, I decided to tell my parents. Well, I guess my mom and my stepdad. Now, at that time, I wasn't really 100% sure about my sexuality. I just didn't know, and I just wanted to get coming out over with, I think. I didn't really give it time to process, because I wanted to tell them. And I did. And it was fine. Obviously, my parents were surprised, I guess. They weren't shocked, they weren't mean, they were just accepting, and they said, okay. Obviously, they were a bit questionative of it, because I even said I wasn't really sure at the time, but they were otherwise accepting of it. And then, after that, I just started coming out to friends, family, school members, staff, regular stuff. I joined the GSA club in school the next year, and the only time, and all throughout that time, ironically, I wasn't out to my dad or social media or that whole side of the family either. So for 2 years, I was half out of the closet, half in the closet. I didn't really hide it on social media, but I didn't really publicly announce it either. I was very vocal about my the gay rights movement and my passions for that, but other than that was basically it. I would still identify as straight on social media and to my dad's whole side of the family just because they lived far away, and it was almost like I was living in this whole other world, and I just didn't see the need to tell them because at that time I really wasn't ready to. Not like it was fear of homophobia or anything like that, I just really wasn't ready. And then over time, I just started getting more comfortable, and everyone in Nova Scotia knew. It was just public knowledge. Everyone knew. And then the summer came, and the worst news came of that. At the end of the summer, I would be moving back to Ontario. I would be saying goodbye to my friends that I had known for 2 years and grown so incredibly close to, especially my one friend Drew. I know she's watching this video. We don't really talk much anymore, but I wish we did. But life gets complicated. But it was a very traumatic experience knowing that I was moving. So then I lived out the rest of the school year best I could. Kind of sad that I was moving, but other than that, it was fine. I just hung out with friends and made the best of it, I guess. And then, in the summer, I think it was in June, school had either just ended or was about to end, and there was a queer prom, which is a prom that the youth project threw for LGBT people. Apparently they do it every year, but that was the first time that I've been. So me and my best friend and a couple other friends went to a hotel that the party was being held. And the one friend that came with us was a guy. His girlfriend was with us as well. And we had a good time and whatever. I'm not going to announce names in this because I know somebody's going to end up watching this and wondering who it is, but unless you know, then you don't really need to know. But at that party, I ended up having my first kiss with a guy. And then after that, I knew that my sexuality was an important thing that I had to figure out and be more open about, but then I just kind of ignored it, whatever. I went on, obviously, a giddy teenage high school kid excited he had his first meaningful kiss, whatever. That didn't pan out, and the guy that I had my first kiss with is an interesting individual, to say the least. Enough of that subject. So then I moved from Nova Scotia, and I moved back to Ontario, and for a while it was fine. I decided not to tell anybody about me being gay at first, or I just didn't really want to. And then over time, it started slipping out where I would just tell people.
2 hours later.
So as I was saying before I got rudely interrupted by my fabulous dinner being done, thanks parents for that. I decided when I moved back, I wouldn't tell anyone about me being gay, and I would just leave the part of that in Nova Scotia for now. Right away it was fine, you know. I didn't really tell many people, and then over time I just did, I guess, and that was that. And then like I just started telling people. It wasn't really a big deal. I went to the GSA at my new school, and I was pretty outspoken about it as usual. Like I didn't really hide it again. And then I started having anxiety attacks based upon social interaction and fear of uh, a non-existent sickness and germs and things like that. So I ended up coming up to my dad over the phone and said, "Dad, I like boys," and he said, "Okay, runs in my family." And that was the best reaction I could have gotten, because not only had he been dealing with me with my anxiety over the last couple of weeks, but he was still understanding and, you know, like that. My dad's always been a person that's pretty chill about everything. So then the next night that I went to my dad's, which I think was a few days later, my grandparents came over and I told them too. My grandparents were accepting. They have a gay son, my uncle, so they were pretty accepting as well. My grandma was just worried about me getting bullied and stuff, which is completely understandable, and I love her for being protective because she's amazing, and I love her so much. So that, so then after that, I came out on Facebook with a post that said, "Surprise, I'm gay," and then ever since then, I've just been me. I don't really conform to anything other than being gay because it just makes it easier. I don't have any issues surrounding that anymore. I am comfortable with my sexuality. I am just. Now, although I haven't really ever experienced bullying for my sexuality, I wanted to share my story to show you guys that it's really, like, it's not that hard to do. In my situation, at least, it just takes guts to you, and when the time is right, it'll happen. So don't stress about it either, because that's one thing I did, was majorly stress about it when I shouldn't have, when I should have taken more time to mull it over myself. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and happy National Coming Out Day. Remember, it counts to be who you are, and it's more important to be who you are than someone else. So, I will see you guys in another video. Bye!